Welcome to Selling Magic, the series for expert service providers in the spiritual, teaching, and personal transformation industries. Dear listener, this is for you if you are interested in what it takes to sell something that can't be held in your hand, how to profit from intangible things like potential, meaning, power, and change. I'm your host, Anna Bellissima. You can find me on all social media channels, and my guests here share their hard-won wisdom and cautionary tales to help you grow your business. Selling Magic is brought to you by The Demand Shift. This is the dark art of attraction marketing for inbound leads. It creates a pivot to your brand messaging that leads to more engagement, more inquiries, more motivated buyers, and it does not rely on constant content creation or live launches, and it works on any platform or medium you prefer. To learn more, you can read about it at thedemandshift.com. That's thedemandshift.com. Now, today's guest is Jacqueline Gates. Jacqueline is not your average coach. There's nothing average about her work or her story or her results, and she knows there is nothing average about you either. With an eccentric mix of stagecraft, acting skills, housework, law of attraction, and powerful coaching, Jacqueline can help you work out who you want to be, what you want to do, and what you want to have next, and begin living that life right now. Jacqueline is the master of acting as if for real, with real life results that stick. Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here today. I ask every guest the same question, first of all, which is, what is the one piece of advice you wish somebody had given to you much earlier in your business, or you would give to somebody just starting out?
That your future self is a role that you can begin playing now. That version of you that you dream of, so you're following a mentor and you think, oh, maybe I could be that, or you're following a witchy person and you go, oh, maybe I could have the kind of magical practice she has, or that version of you is available to you. The mere fact that it pops into your head, it means on all sorts of things. Quantum physics and law of attraction, and also they talk about vibrational match. That means it's available to you, and you can start living it now if you start reverse engineering and taking little steps along the way.
So this is, to summarize, it's about taking control of your destiny rather than waiting for it to come to you, essentially.
Precisely. One of my favorite magicians said a quote is that you make a plan that will work without magic, and then you throw magic at it to make sure it works. And that's what we do.
That's what we do. So when you're teaching your process, this process for, we're talking about a process for manifestation, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
When you're teaching this process to your clients, are you specifically either using or avoiding language about magic? Are you specifically either embracing or avoiding language around law of attraction, The Secret? We're all familiar with a lot of the keywords that go along with that. How do you position your work to your clients?
I will say that as far as law of attraction goes, The Secret opened doors for me. Yes, it's been poo-pooed ever since as horribly mainstream, but it's precisely because it was mainstream that I found it, and it opened my doors, right? And there's been magic in my family that has been squashed and poo-pooed for a very long time. And it actually wasn't until I saw you. And then you were just so loud and proud about the fact that you have mad marketing skills, like real life, tangible business skills. And the magic adds this piece. And I knew that was the piece. And so in my own work, where I do what looks like house magic, where we use theatrical magic. We use your set design in real life to make you feel like you want to feel. Wardrobe magic, so that you start dressing as if you already have the life that you're looking for. And then those tiny little identity shifts that make you act as if. And those look like magic. There is science to back them up, but until you read the science, it looks like magic. And I don't avoid any of it. I think everything is everything. And there are ways to weave in who you are right at this minute in becoming who you want to be. And if we leave pieces of it out, that's not wise. And I will tell you that my very first marketing mentor back in 2010 found out that I had been on stage for 25 years. And they said to me, do not tell people that because they will think you're a fake. I tried for 6 or 7 years to not mention any kind of theater. And the minute I did, but I was working it all myself. So I read The Secret, heard about acting as if, and I said, I know how to act as if. I just need to arrange my home in a different way, and I need to dress according to who I want to be, and I can craft this role. So I started doing that, and it wasn't until I happened to mention it on a public call that my law of attraction trainer said, wait, you're doing what? And I went, well, I'm acting as if like an actor does. And they went, okay, tell me more about that. And suddenly I was full on into acting. I lost 7 years listening to somebody who dismissed a part of who I am. Don't do that. If you are into law of attraction, be into it. If you're into magic, be into it. The thing that makes you you is the best selling proposition ever, because it's unrepeatable, it is incomparable, it is unique. And that is what I wish I'd known.
Yes. Tell me what happens inside of a person who is immersed in stagecraft, in environmental, the total environment. I've heard it referred to as the set within which we play out our lives. How does the process happen that is it just a question of practice, that little part inside of you that says, well, I'm just acting as if, I'm just acting. Does that little part always remain a little bit behind? Do you understand what I'm doing?
Yeah, I know. No, it doesn't.
Like the inner part of you who's saying, if anybody knew how much of an act this was, all your ambitions would be scuppered. Like, because we all have that, don't we? Like, who do you think you are? What's going on? What makes you think you can blah, 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 blah? Yes?
You will have that. And the analogy I use is, imagine a stage and you've got 6 or 7 characters on the stage, but only 3 are highlighted in the front. They're in the spotlight. You see them. And initially when the curtain goes up, that's all you see, because the others are motionless at the back. And it isn't until some point, and actually in Les Mis, they do this really well. It isn't until some point in the script or in the line of the story that the spotlight comes up and you go, oh my God, that person was there all the time. And then slowly there are portions of you that are exactly like that. They have been in the background, unspotlighted for so long that people think that the front 3 are all you are. And so when you start highlighting your magic, when you start highlighting your glamour, in my case, when you start highlighting and spotlighting a portion of you that's always been there, people will go, who do you think you are? And the reason they ask you that is because they're asking themselves, I don't know who you are anymore. And so would you please reintroduce yourself? And you can then say, I have always been this. I've just not had her front of stage. So I honestly believe those pieces, otherwise it's fake it till you make it, and I don't agree with that. Fake it till you make it is trying to become something you're not. This is not that. This is emerging as something you've always been but never spotlighted before.
Or a version of you that was always there, existing in the potential, but just on a different timeline, the road less traveled, right?
That's true. That's absolutely. And sometimes we have to reach a certain age to have the courage to be able to do that. Or like me, you become an empty nester. So now suddenly school and all those things, those timetables, I have more time to do the things that I've always wanted to do. We are evolving in a non-linear fashion, and we don't know when we're going to be ready to be the version of us that wants to come out. This is the fun of being human. This is the fun of finding our magic as we go along.
And being creative beings. Tell me about readiness. If somebody approaches you interested in your work, because I know you don't work with just anyone, how do you assess somebody's somebody's readiness to take the spotlight to, because in many cases this is dramatic change, right?
It can be, for sure, yes, or at least a dramatic pivot.
Yes.
So a lot of the time I will assess resources, and by that I mean change takes energy. We tend to diminish how much energy change takes. So do you have the sleep? Do you have the time? Do you have the resources to be able to devote yourself to this change? When I say devote, it's not 24 hours, but enough to actually carry out, because otherwise you're investing in something that you are actually incapable of getting the ROI on right this very minute. And then the other part is desire. It's like, how much do you want this? And often how much you want that can override some wobbly resources right now. But you do need to know that. You do need to be able to feel that. And then I was going to say clarity, but there isn't actually, readiness doesn't depend on clarity. We can find clarity as we move towards it. Readiness is that moment that says, I'm done waiting. I'm done being in the wings. I am going to take that one small step that puts me on stage, and I'm going to see what happens. And hopefully I have somebody at my shoulder that will guide me to center stage, that will show me the ropes, show me not to fall into the orchestra pit or whatever it is, those little steps. And eventually you'll finally go, I was meant to be here. I always knew that, but I pretended I didn't.
I adore, and the readiness, it strikes me as being willingness to step into the unknown, right? Because whenever somebody embarks on a journey like this, we have maybe an idea in mind of the destination, which inevitably turns into the universe laughing at us and, oh, you thought you wanted that, but it turns out you really want this. So I'm sure you see this a whole lot in your clients as I do mine, that where we thought we were heading turns out not to be where we were heading at all. But the readiness is the willing to step into the journey and be like, well, I don't know where we're going, but I know things have to change and it's time.
Yeah, and your use of the word the journey. I mean, you actually can't start a journey if you don't move, if you don't actually take that step. Otherwise, you're just still planning the journey, really.
Yes, still planning it. Indeed. Jacqueline, I know you have, speaking of devotion, I know you have many of your own spiritual and magical practices. You're a devotee of Vesta.
Yes.
You are a proponent of glamour magic. I was wondering if you were going to teach or recommend a specific devotion or ceremony or ritual to the emerging entrepreneur, what would it be? What can our listeners try?
One of my favorite things is releasing the residue of who you used to be when you decide to start being another version of you. And that can be a ritual letting go of the stuff that makes you feel blur. It looks like decluttering, but there's a difference between what things look like and what they actually are. And we know that this is magic, right? So you can have something in your wardrobe that you reach for all the time, but you don't feel fabulous wearing it. When you let that thing go in honor and in certainty that you're becoming something else, you're becoming a version of you that doesn't settle for things that make her feel blah, then it becomes a magical spell. It becomes something that you can move through your home and systematically let go of things that don't remind you of who you're becoming. And so for example, when I'm cleaning my house, when you can offer that as to the magic of who you're becoming. So I love the fact that when my house is clean, I feel a certain way. So that version of me, I am offering this housework to them so that I can experience it. And so when I clear something from my wardrobe and I open it up and it's full of things that I love to wear, the version of me that wears those things, it becomes an honoring, a spell that honors them. And so we weave all this, the mundane and the magic, until reality becomes magical and the magic is real.
The interweaving, the reaching through the veil, indeed. So what you've really been speaking about there is making space for something new to come in, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And doing it mindfully in where you are, because so often we wait too long for some sort of magical big, I don't know, apocalyptic, I don't know, not apocalyptic, that's the wrong word to use, but see, some big event that's going to say, oh, from then I became, but it's not, it's in the moments, it's in the crafting of your daily life that you be who you want to be so that you can do and have what you want to do and have.
Wonderful. Now, tell us, Jacqueline, how can we learn more about what you do, and who, maybe first, who is going, we talked a bit about readiness, who is going to get the absolute most out of working with you?
Someone who's ready to change, someone who is ready to look at their lives and go, what do I want to keep? And what do I want to let go of? And where do we go from here? And what's my wild, most luscious, most fantastical version of me? And how can I start living as her right now? Because that, when you start having those kind of thoughts, I am absolutely the best co-director for you.
Wonderful. And where can we find out about working with you?
On my website, JacquelineGates.com. So it's Jacqueline, JACQUELINE Gates, as in Bill Gates, but no relation. And then
we'll put that link in the description.
And then I'm also on Facebook still. So there's that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to draw our conversation to a close. Thank you so much, Jacqueline Gates, for coming on and sharing your wisdom about house magic, theatre magic, glamour magic, and becoming, the art of becoming. You can learn more about what Jacqueline does by visiting JacquelineGates.com. And if you are in the business of selling magic, I would love to have you on a future episode. You will find the link to apply in the caption below. And once again, if you want to switch on a golden tap of hot leads flowing into your business who want what you're selling, check out the lesson at thedemandshift.com. That is all for now. Remember, you are magic. Be bold, stay sharp, say your prayers, and I will see you later.